Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. You guys sent in a ton of stuff about GSE systems.
Yeah,
And wow,
lot to unpack.
there is a lot to unpack. They seem to be doing a lot of different things.
Yeah, a lot of different things going on.
Renewable energy training, sustainable data platforms,
Power plant simulators.
power plant simulators. I mean, what is the connection here? I'm very curious.
Well, that's what we're going to find out today, right?
Exactly. We brought in an expert to help us figure it all out.
Absolutely.
So we're going to try to figure out exactly what GSE Systems does, how it all works,
And why you should care.
and why you should care. Exactly.
Yeah.
And don't worry, we'll be pulling some specific examples and fascinating details straight from the sources you sent.
So let's dive in.
Let's dive in. Okay, first things first. It seems like there's some confusion about the name itself. We have some sources talking about GSES Australia and others talking about GSES Platform, and they both stand for Global Sustainable Energy Solutions.
Yeah, it is a little confusing.
How do we make sense of this?
So basically, we're looking at two separate organizations here with that same GSES acronym.
Okay.
They both focus on sustainability, but they go about it in different ways. GSES Australia, as you might guess, they mainly work in Australia and the surrounding areas.
Okay.
They're all about hands-on training and education in renewable energy.
So are we talking about like installing solar panels, setting up wind turbines, that kind of thing?
Not exactly. They're more about teaching people how to do those things.
Oh, okay.
Think of them as the educators and consultants. They've got a wide range of courses, everything from getting certified as a solar panel installer to shorter courses on things like microgrids and charging stations for electric vehicles.
So they're building up that skilled workforce for renewable energy.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense. What about this GSES platform? Is it a real platform or something?
It's a platform, but in the digital sense.
Okay.
It's software as a service.
Yeah.
What's interesting about it is that it looks at sustainability through the lens of data.
Data. Okay.
They've developed the system that helps organizations measure, verify, and report how sustainable they are.
So instead of companies just saying, hey, we're sustainable, they can actually show the data to back it up.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
This platform takes information from different places, a company's own operations, their supply chain, even external certifications. It pulls it all together.
So it helps paint a clear and transparent picture of their impact.
Exactly.
I see how that would be super helpful, especially with all the different sustainability standards and frameworks out there.
Yeah,
It's like a universal translator for all that sustainability data.
that's a great way to put it. It cuts through all that complexity and
Right.
helps organizations make sense of the data and then use it to make actual changes.
Now, we can't forget about that third player in this game. GSE Systems, Inc.
Right, the publicly traded company.
Yeah. They seem to be doing something completely different. Simulation and training, mostly for nuclear and just general energy.
Mm-hmm.
How does this fit into the whole sustainability thing?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. You might think nuclear energy doesn't really go with the whole renewable energy focus of the other GSE entities.
Right.
But GSE Systems, Inc., they play a critical role in making sure those complex energy systems operate safely and efficiently.
And that includes nuclear.
That includes nuclear, yeah. Their specialty is creating highly detailed simulators for power plants,
Oh, wow.
so operators can train in a safe environment for all sorts of situations.
So they basically build these fake power plants just for training.
Pretty much which sounds crazy, right?
That's wild.
But it's absolutely essential.
Especially when you think about nuclear. Yeah.
Think about how complicated a nuclear reactor is.
Yeah.
These simulators recreate every single detail, every control panel, every possible thing that could go wrong.
Oh, wow.
This way, operators can learn how to react effectively if they're under pressure in a real situation.
It's like a flight simulator, but for nuclear engineers.
Exactly. That's a good way to think about it.
I can definitely see why that would be crucial for safety and for just making things run smoothly.
Absolutely.
Where did GSE Systems, Inc. even come from? Do they always work in the nuclear field?
Believe it or not, they actually started in flight simulation.
Oh, wow.
Kind of a fun fact.
Yep.
They've evolved over time,
Mm-hmm.
expanding into the energy sector and growing through acquisitions. A big turning point for them was building that simulator for the Westinghouse AP1000 nuclear power plant.
Wow.
It's a very advanced reactor design being used in both China and the U.S.
So they've gone from training pilots to training nuclear
It
engineers.
just split the jump.
Yeah. And speaking of jumps, it looks like they were recently bought by Pelican Energy Partners.
Yes, very recently.
What does that tell us about where they're headed?
It definitely points to GSE Systems, Inc. being in a good spot for growth. All this renewed interest in nuclear power as a source of clean energy is likely a big reason for that acquisition.
It makes sense. Okay, so we've got these three different parts of GSE. GSES, Australia, training the renewable energy workforce. The GSES platform making sustainability data clear and usable. And GSE Systems, Inc., keeping those complex energy systems running safely and smoothly.
Yeah.
It's like a three-pronged attack on a brighter future.
I like that. They're all going for the same big goal, just coming at it from different directions.
Yeah.
It's like each of them is working on a different piece of the sustainability puzzle.
I like that, the sustainability puzzle. And when you put all the pieces together,
Yeah.
you start to see this bigger picture emerge.
And when you put all those pieces together, you really start to see that bigger picture emerge.
I'm really interested in GSES Australia and how they approach their training. What makes their program so unique?
Well, one thing that sets them apart is their emphasis on actually getting your hands dirty.
Okay, so hands-on learning.
Yeah, hands-on learn. They don't just talk about theory. They get their students out there in the real world. For example, they have this program where trainees actually install solar panels on homes and businesses.
So they're out there making things happen,
Exactly.
not just learning about it in a classroom.
Exactly. And that kind of practical experience is so valuable.
Yeah.
It helps students build the skills and the confidence they need to succeed.
I bet, yeah. And it's not just about technical skills, right? I imagine there's a big focus on safety and best practices as well, especially when you're dealing with things like electricity,
Oh, absolutely.
potentially hazardous materials.
Yeah, safety is paramount in renewable energy.
Right.
GSES Australia really prioritizes that in their training. They have these super strict safety protocols, and they make sure that all the trainees are totally equipped to work safely and responsibly.
That's good to hear. It seems like they really prepare their students for what it's actually like to work in this field.
They do, and they're not just focused on Australia either.
Oh, really?
They've got an international branch, GSES International, that's helping to build up expertise in developing countries all over the world.
Wow.
So they're contributing to this global workforce that can tackle those challenges of climate change and energy transition.
That's pretty incredible. It sounds like they're making a real difference on a global scale.
Yeah, and their impact isn't limited to just training individuals.
That's what they do.
They also work as consultants for governments and businesses, helping them create and put into action their own renewable energy strategies.
So they're not only training the workforce, they're actually shaping the policies and strategies that are going to lead us to a more sustainable future.
Exactly. They're working on multiple levels to really push forward that adoption of renewable energy around the world.
Okay, let's switch gears now and talk about the GSES platform.
Okay. Yeah.
We touched on it a little earlier, but I'd like to get into the nuts and bolts of how it actually works. What kind of data does it collect, and how does it help organizations make sense of it all?
It's kind of like the central hub for everything related to sustainability. It pulls in data from a whole bunch of different sources, internal operations, supply chains, even external certifications.
Right.
It can track everything from energy usage and emissions to waste management and social impact projects.
So it's not just about environmental data. It also looks at the social and governance side of sustainability.
That's right.
Okay.
It takes this really holistic view of sustainability,
Okay.
acknowledging that it's not only about reducing our impact on the environment, but also about building a society that's more fair and just.
I'm really fascinated by this idea of putting all that data together in one place. It seems like it would be really valuable for organizations to be able to see that big picture and figure out where they can improve.
For sure.
Yeah.
The GSES platform goes beyond just collecting data.
Okay.
It helps organizations actually use that data to make real changes. It's got tools for analyzing, reporting, and benchmarking so organizations can track their progress, set goals, and pinpoint those areas where they can do better.
And it's not just for internal reporting, right? I bet companies can use this data to show their investors, customers, and other stakeholders how sustainable they're being.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Transparency is becoming more and more important in business.
Right.
The GSES platform helps organizations prove that they're committed to sustainability in a way that's believable and verifiable.
So it's like giving them a way to back up their sustainability claims.
Yeah, it's not just empty promises anymore.
Yeah.
And this is becoming increasingly important as consumers and investors demand more accountability from businesses.
Now, I have to ask about GSE Systems, Inc. and their work with power plant simulators.
Sure.
We talked about the safety aspect of things, but I'm also curious about the efficiency side. How can using simulators actually make power plants run better?
That's a great question. Simulators aren't only for practicing emergencies. They can also be used to test out different ways of running the plant
Okay.
and find ways to make it more efficient.
So they can basically run virtual experiments
Yeah.
on the simulator
Yeah.
to see how making changes to procedures or the equipment setup could affect how well the plant performed.
Exactly. It's like having this virtual testing ground for the power plant.
Wow.
They can experiment without any risk to the real system.
That's amazing. It seems like that would be a really powerful tool for making energy production better and cutting down on waste.
For sure. And as we move towards these more complex energy systems
Mm-hmm.
with renewables, nuclear, and all this fancy energy storage,
Mm-hmm.
the role of simulation is only going to get bigger.
It's like we're moving from a world of just simple machines to this world of systems that are all interconnected. And we need these more sophisticated tools to help us manage it all.
You got it. And GSE Systems, Inc. is right there at the cutting edge of this whole technological shift.
You know, it's pretty amazing how these three different GSE entities, even with their different approaches, are all working towards the same goal, creating a brighter, more sustainable future.
It is. It's really cool.
Yeah.
They each represent a different part of this whole sustainability movement, but they're all striving for the same outcome.
And it's not just about the technology or the innovations.
Yeah.
It's about the people.
Yeah.
It's about giving individuals the knowledge, the skills, and the tools to make a real difference.
That's a really important point. Technology is great, but it's only as good as the people using it.
Exactly.
We need skilled workers, informed citizens, and leaders with vision to actually drive that change toward a sustainable future.
And we need collaboration.
Yes.
These three GSE entities might be doing their own thing right now, but just think what they could achieve if they combine their expertise.
That would be pretty amazing.
Yeah.
What if we brought together that training expertise from GSES Australia with the data analytics power of the GSES platform? They could create programs that not only teach those technical skills, but also give students the skills they need to analyze data so they can track and improve sustainability.
And what if they worked with GSE Systems, Inc., to create simulators that use real-time sustainability data?
Yeah.
Operators could train for scenarios that include not just technical problems, but also environmental and social impacts.
That's a fantastic idea. It would be this incredibly comprehensive training experience, preparing operators to manage energy systems in a way that balances efficiency, safety, and sustainability.
Wow, the possibilities are really exciting when you start thinking about how they could work together and share ideas.
Absolutely. It shows you what can happen when you bring together different perspectives and expertise to tackle those really complex challenges.
So where do we go from here? How do we take all this information and actually put it into action? What can we do as individuals to contribute to building that more sustainable future?
That's the big question, right?
It is.
It can feel a bit overwhelming, you know? Thinking about what we can do as individuals when the challenges are so huge.
Yeah, exactly.
Global energy systems, the whole future of sustainability.
It's a lot.
It's easy to feel like our little choices don't really make much of a difference.
I get that feeling for sure.
But here's the thing. Big change always starts with individuals taking action.
Okay.
Think of it like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Every single choice we make, no matter how small, sends out ripples.
Mm-hmm.
And those ripples can cross paths and get bigger, leading to these waves of change.
I like that, the ripple effect.
Yeah.
So what are some practical things we can do to start making those ripples?
Well, I think education is absolutely key.
Okay.
The more we understand about these complex topics, the better decisions we can make.
Right.
That's where groups like GSES Australia are so important.
Mm-hmm.
They're giving people the knowledge and skills they need to be part of creating a more sustainable future.
So step one is to learn, whether it's through these formal training programs or just talking about sustainability with our friends and family.
Exactly. Knowledge is power, you know? The more we know, the more we can actually make a difference.
Right.
And it's not just about learning about things like renewable energy or data.
Yeah.
It's about understanding how all these issues connect to society and the economy, too.
Right. We need that bigger picture.
Yeah, that big picture thinking.
Yeah, how our energy choices affect not just the planet, but people's lives and communities and even social justice.
Exactly. Sustainability is a challenge with many sides, so we need to approach it from many angles.
Okay, so once we have a good understanding of the issues, what are some real-world examples? Like what choices can we make every day that actually move us towards a more sustainable future?
There are so many things we can do.
Yeah.
It could be as simple as using less energy at home, picking sustainable products or supporting businesses that share our values. It could mean getting involved in pushing for policy changes, volunteering in our community, or even investing in renewable energy projects.
So it's about living our values,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Through the things we buy, how we vote, even our careers.
exactly. It's realizing that we all have a part to play in making the world more sustainable, and that our choices, no matter how small they seem, can add up.
It's kind of empowering to think that we're not just watching this happen.
Right.
We can actually shape the future we want.
Exactly.
And we can't forget about working together.
Yeah, that's huge.
When people come together, share ideas, and support each other, we can have a much bigger impact.
It's like that ripple effect in action.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about finding your tribe, the organizations, the people who are working towards the same goals and supporting each other along the way.
And celebrating those wins, right?
Absolutely, big and small.
Yeah.
Because every step in the right direction is a win for sustainability.
You know, this whole deep dive has really opened my eyes. It's shown me how complex these challenges are, but it's also given me a lot of hope.
That's great.
Seeing these different GSE groups all working towards a more sustainable future, each in their own way, is pretty inspiring.
I agree. It reminds us that progress is happening, and there are people out there dedicated to finding those solutions.
Yeah.
And it's a call for all of us to join them on this journey.
So as we wrap things up here, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
I would say never underestimate your own ability to make a difference.
Okay.
Every choice you make, every action you take, plays a role in shaping the world. So choose wisely, act boldly, and never stop believing that a brighter future is possible.
That's a great message.
Nice.
And on that note, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of GSE systems and the future of sustainability.
It's been great.
We hope you learn something new, feel inspired to take action, and most importantly, feel empowered to be part of the solution.
Absolutely.
Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.